9 times. 9 times. Yeah, that's how many times teams have come back from a 3-2 deficit down in the finals. Yeah, I'm up at it because I'm trying to make sure all of you focus on this graphic with a lot of words on it, a lot of teams. Listen, the Celtics have done it twice, but hey, the 60s, that's a long time ago. Last team to do it, the Cavs against the Warriors, who were up 3-1 in that series in 2016. I don't know. Are they going to collapse again? Probably not, with Jason Tatum shooting like 30% from 2, like 60% from the charity stripe. Matt Meiselman, something's up with your guy. Chinmay Vaidya, it's good to have you here as well. Game 6 is tomorrow night. It's in Boston, dudes. And listen, it was a disappointing performance for Tatum. It was really disappointing for Steph Curry, who failed to hit a 3 for the first time in a game since 2018. First time ever in a playoff game he didn't hit one from deep. But there is a prop on the DK Sportsbook, guys, for Curry and Tatum to each score 25-plus points in Game 6. The odds here, -115. Who's buying into a bounce-back game for both these guys? Matty Ice.
I don't really like this, and I promise it's not just because I'm salty about the series. Maybe it's a little bit that. But Tatum, like you just mentioned, I don't think is 100%. And I do think Curry's last game was an anomaly, but I don't think that it is totally independent of what we're going to see going forward. The Celtics actually defended him better in Game 5 than they did in any game in the series. Curry missed some decent looks, but for the most part, they just didn't really give him open shots. And I think that they kind of figured out that Robert Williams can hedge out on screens and really cause problems for Steph. The Celtics are going to have to score. So like that's just, the question of them winning the game. They're still going to have to figure out their offense, especially down the stretch. But like the probability of Curry and Tatum both individually scoring 25 is a little above 50% for each of them independently, but combined together, I think it's below 50. So one of them probably doesn't get there. I don't know which it is, but I just don't really like this prop bet.
Okay, Chinmay, if you think one of them doesn't get there like Matt does, who is the one who is likely to do it? Who's the one who's not likely to do it? And do you like them both doing it?
I think Curry does have a bounce-back game, and there's no way he's missing all 7 of his three-point attempts. He did have some good looks. I also do want to push back a little bit on the idea that Jason Tatum is just completely tanking it in this series. His shooting efficiency from inside the arc is terrible, and he's missed some free throws, and he's missed some bunny layups, and the Warriors are giving him problems. But some of the Celtics supporting cast members have not showed up when Jason Tatum has needed them to in key moments, and he's scoring points. So I think Tatum definitely gets there. He's got 26 or more points in 3 of the last 4 games, and he was at 23 in the one that he didn't get to 26 or more. So I like Tatum to definitely hit this mark. I think if anyone misses here, it's Curry. But I do think he has a bounce-back game in Game 6, and I could see him also reaching this. So I'm a little intrigued by this. If anyone does miss, though, I think it's Steph Curry who doesn't get the job done.
Yeah, I mean, the 30% figure on 2-pointers for Tatum in the postseason is just like, it's appalling, or rather in the finals, because the guy shot 52.4%. That was his clip in the regular season for 2-pointers. And you know who played some damn good defense on him too in Game 5, guys? That was Wiggins, Andrew Wiggins. He led the game, by the way, for the Warriors, 26 points. So Chinmay, kind of going back to a little bit like what you just said, like the supporting cast for Tatum has not really stepped up in these finals. It did big time for Curry and the Warriors in Game 5. So you can get him to score 20-plus again in Game 6 at +120 on the DK Sportsbook. Do you see another big game from Wiggins, Chinmay?
I think we have to, again, kind of discuss exactly what a big game is for Andrew Wiggins. Okay. Is it scoring 20-plus points, or is it locking up Tatum on the defensive end? Because that's really the key for the Golden State Warriors when it comes to how Andrew Wiggins plays. Of course, they like his scoring. They want him to probably hit a few more threes than he's hit over the past few games. But his work on the glass and his defense on Tatum is really what has separated Golden State in this series from Boston over the last 2 games. So I think Wiggins does have a big game, but I'm not sure that he has another, 20-plus scoring effort in Game 6. So I think he's a pivotal player in this series, but give me the no on that one. I won't take that bet.
All right, Matty. He sees the opportunity to become the Warriors' hero there in Game 5. And in these finals, he's averaging just north of 18 points a game.
Well, a big game for Wiggins is going to be problematic for the Celtics. Like he's been so much better than I think most of us expected him to be. I don't think he gets to 20, but I think the bet is interesting. Like that's roughly, it's just north of what I would expect. Like 18 points sounds about right. His prop line right now is 18 and a half. It's juiced to the under. Like 17 or 18 points is probably the expectation. So plus 120, I don't hate it. And it's really going to come down to if Wiggins makes his first three or two, he could have a really big scoring game because we saw it last game. The Celtics put way more attention on Curry, and Wiggins was wide open from three throughout the whole first half and didn't make any of them. But the second half, he decided he needed to drive more. But if he hits a couple of those early threes, we could have been looking at a 25 or 30-point game out of him. So I think there's a lot of ways an Andrew Wiggins game can go because his shooting is just so inconsistent. Ultimately, I don't really have a good answer for this, though. I just hope he doesn't have a big game as someone with a lot of interest on the Celtics side. He's certainly been really good in this series so far.
Well, for Game 6, Wiggins on the DK Sportsbook plus 220 to record a double-double there. Al Horford plus 360. Let's see. Like, there's a bunch of guys for this prop on the DK Sportsbook. Who's a player you like to record a double-double? Maddie.
So I actually have an answer for this. It's kind of a weird pick, though. I'm going to go with a guard slash forward with Jaylen Brown, who's at plus 475. And his rebound line has fluctuated around 6.5 to 7.5 throughout this NBA Finals. The series has gotten more defensive as it's progressed. The totals have come down. There's been more missed shots. I think the defense has gotten better as these teams have felt each other out and understand a little more of how they can guard well and get more contests on these jump shots. So there's just more rebounding in general, but I think a lot of the odds have moved for that. Robert Williams' rebound line has come up. Wiggins certainly, like I think everyone knows that Wiggins can rebound now. But Brown's doesn't seem to have moved. Plus 475 for him. It's essentially a bet on him to get 10 rebounds. Like he's going to, I mean, half the time he gets 10 points in the first quarter. So Brown's scoring is not in question here, but his rebounding, it's really just does he get 10 or not? And I think there's enough of a chance that plus 475 is a pretty decent bet for him.
Yeah, Chinmay, he's had a fairly solid NBA Finals, too, despite a couple sub 30% shooting games in there.
Yeah, Brown has been all right, and obviously last game was a clunker for him, but he's come out hot to open games, at least games 2 through 4. He was really good in the first quarter. So I think Brown is an interesting bet, but if I'm going with somebody outside of Wiggins and Tatum, who I think are the more surefire bets here to get a double-double, I'm going with Robert Williams. He's come close in each of the last 2 games. The Celtics are giving him more run. It's a do-or-die game at home. Role players tend to play better at home for Boston, and Williams is going to feed off that crowd more than anybody really outside of Marcus Smart. So I think Williams has a big game and has potential to get a double-double. He's come close in the last 2. So if you're looking for sort of a long shot outside of Wiggins and Tatum, who I think are pretty much as close to locks as you can get without actually getting, minus money, I think you're looking at Robert Williams as the guy who has the upside play there.
Yeah, Chinmay, it certainly is do or die for the Celtics. Some would say it's a must win. It's one of the grandest stages of them all when we talk Game 6 of the Finals. Do you see someone having like an all-time game here and dropping upwards of 50 on Thursday night? Because there's a prop under the series special category, as you see it on your screen, that has any player to score 45-plus points in a Finals game. That's sitting at plus 600.
So no one has done it in this series yet. And you're looking at basically 2 games if you think the Celtics are going to win Game 6. You're looking at 2 games for somebody to score 45-plus. The last time somebody did it was last year. Giannis scored 50 in Game 6. I know the narrative says to go with Klay Thompson, Game 6 Klay, but I think the only player who really has a chance to go 45-plus in Game 6 is Jason Tatum. I think he has to stand up and show that he's really a superstar, franchise player for the Boston Celtics. I think Jason Tatum has the best shot, but I wouldn't really back this bet. 45-plus is difficult, and it looks like both teams have figured the other out offensively. So I see another relatively low-scoring game, and I could see everybody kind of spreading out evenly in terms of points. But if anyone is going to do it, I think Tatum stands up here and drops 45-plus.
Matty, are you with Chinmay on this?
Yeah, Emerson, you can't expect me to go for a bet this fun. Like my takes are just way too boring to root for something like this. It's not impossible, but I just don't think plus 600 is nearly high enough odds. Like maybe it's a 1 in 10 shot or 1 in 15 shot that someone does this. 45 points is a lot. Like we've had some massive Steph Curry games, and even he hasn't gotten that high up. Like if no one's done it yet, like if Steph hasn't done it yet, I don't think anyone's doing it. And as we've already talked about, the series is getting lower and lower scoring as it progresses. Like if both teams are scoring around 100, we're really going to expect a single player to get close to half of that. I mean, it could happen. Jaylen Brown gets in foul trouble maybe, and that boosts Tatum's shot volume a little bit, something like that. Something weird could happen. We haven't had an overtime game yet. Maybe we get one of those too, but I just don't think the odds justify it, even though I do think it could happen.